Whatever it is, you don't need to get it perfect every single time. Actually, it's against the laws of the universe for something to happen in the exact same way at the microscopic level that it has happened. Hello, beautiful souls. It's a beautiful day in the natural world, and I'm here to call forth in you the feeling of the sacred qualities of life. I trust that through watching this, what I feel here and now in this moment will ignite these qualities already within you, and you will benefit and you will build upon it in your own way from the sacred life that you are. Have you ever found yourself experiencing this sort of striving to make something as good or as perfect as you have experienced it to be? So it could be, something in your work or in your relationships, or in something you're creating, in your art or music or a business or any sort of project. And you have like this really wonderful experience where everything seems to align and fall into place, and you're like, yes, this is beauty, this is perfection. And then if you're like me, you might have noticed something inside you that's like, okay, how do I do that again? How do I make that beautiful alignment happen again? And the truth is it's kind of impossible to reproduce anything. And I'm talking at like the microscopic level, right? Which is a comforting place to live. It's actually impossible to reproduce something in the exact same way. And in my own experience of striving for that degree of reproducibility, it's exhausting. It's actually really exhausting and impossible, because it is physically impossible. And the nature of how that alignment came to be in the first place was or is so often from this really natural place of flow. It sort of arises, right? It was never something that was forced. And so there are these, two experiences of both striving and seeing that in ourselves, and this idea, this thought, that there is somehow this notion of something being perfect or like the right way. Um, and when I come out into the natural world, I am reminded of nature's imperfection and how the beauty of that imperfection arises from the natural flow of life. I look around and I actually don't even have a thought out here of like, oh, this is supposed to be like that, or that is supposed to be like this, right? We don't like look at a tree, right, and go like, oh, if it was a little less this or a little more this, or it's too much this, or it's too little of this. It's always just right in its perfectly imperfect state of being. And I'm so, so, so grateful to actually feel that, to feel that ease with seeming imperfection. And, it's beyond those words. It's beyond the words of perfect or imperfect. It's it actually like removes those conceptual thoughts completely of something being one way or another. Things just become as they are. And that state of things just being as they are is ignited within me when I'm out here. There's no sort of conceptualization of um, how something is or isn't. It just is. And I, I think about the seasons or anything that happens out here, right? It's when it rains, on one day, the next day that it rains, there's nothing going, oh gosh, I wish I would have rained the same way that I rained yesterday. It's just like today is today's rain. Tomorrow will be tomorrow's rain. And there's just such a beauty in things being as they are, as they unravel in the way that they do. And there's no expectation. There's no expectation because that absence of perfect repetition is actually where the beauty lies. It's always a different process. It's always a different expression. It's always a different dance. And so, the same tree that, where the buds emerge and the flowers bloom, they're never gonna bloom the same. Every season, every time, that's just not gonna happen. And it's still going to be beautiful. It's still gonna be what it is. And I notice that I get to enjoy things as they are when I am surrendered to that truth that nature always reminds me of, that in that state of flow, in that state of surrender to natural processes. And when I say surrender, it's a surrender that actually comes from paying attention, not from sort of a resignation of like throwing our hands up in the air and being like, it's actually from this seeing of things as they actually are. And I'm sure you may have had experiences in your life where things were not maybe as you wanted them to be. I've definitely had that where I was like, oh man, this is not as I would like it to be. And yet something emerges from that which I thought I didn't want. Something emerges from the thing that was outside that sort of image of what was perfect or right that I had. The beauty actually emerges from outside of that place. And it emerges more quickly when I could be with things as they are. When whatever the weather was or however the flower bloomed that day, it wasn't expected to be the same as it was the day before or even the moment before. And so I'm very grateful to how the natural world reminds me of the absolute beauty of imperfection, and actually of the complete liberation even from these conceptualizations or these words, and this sort of just acknowledgement of the natural processes of evolution, of things being different in every single moment, because that's just how life works. It is so infinitely creative, so infinitely spontaneous, um, so infinitely mysterious, so ready to become something else. And sometimes all that needs to happen is you just need to look at it. You just need to allow clear seeing. And in that clear seeing, that's really sort of like a sharp presence with what is actually happening. You can see the subtleties, the details of the new thing that is emerging. And so sometimes I'll ask myself that question in these moments where I find myself striving for something to be as it has been, or to be this idea of perfect or right. And I'll ask myself, what else is happening here? What can be enjoyed? What is the beauty, even if it's a really difficult moment? What could emerge from this moment? What might I need to feel or experience to be as close to what is actually happening, and to allow that to nourish me and to move me? I wish you more and more of what's already here and now in this wisdom of the sacred qualities of life itself.